honestly, Kyrie wipes him. And it's really not that close.
The last time Kyrie did exactly that was 2016.
Man, it really was a long time ago.
It was 2016. Like, that was the last time Kyrie Irving was a legitimate number 2 on a championship-level team. For exactly the reasons that you just stated. Playoff riser. My number 7...
right? Oh, no, that's 7. Yeah, go ahead.
Is Jamal motherfucking Murray.
Oh.
The man just won an NBA championship as the second best player on the team. And granted, we're all going to say behind the best player in the world. That's an argument against him that just goes to show the mind meld that the two of them have. And it was in one of the most dominant fashions we've had in recent memory. That they just walked through the playoffs and had, what, a 16-3 record? Which is ridiculous. But to give numbers, he averaged 26.1, 5.7, and 7.1 on 47.3% from the field, 39.6 from three-point line, and 92.6 from the free throw line. And was a net positive on the defensive side of the ball as well. So, I have Jamal Murray at my number 7 spot. His regular season last year, he was coming back from the torn ACL. And then in the playoffs, all we saw was, once again, Jamal Murray stepping up to a completely different level in the playoffs. And that I value more so than anything else, because that's when the lights are the brightest, as a certain someone like Ortiz has said. That's when the lights are the brightest. And look, if you could perform in those moments, I value that far more than anything else. So, Jamal is my number 7.
I have Ja at 7. The reason I put Fox over Ja, because I know a lot of people might flip out about that, but I think what I like more about Fox, I will say, is he is super athletic. I don't know that he's not as explosive as Ja Morant, of course, but I think because of that, he relies more on creativity and, especially his mid-range jumper and things like that, where Ja has the explosive athleticism that not many athletes have at all. So still a primetime big deal player. But yeah, I have Ja at 7.
My number 7, this is where I put Kyrie Irving.
Okay, wow. Nice.
I don't think it's really a wow.
It's not a wow.
Kyrie Irving.
It's a wow for me because this was incredibly difficult. He was the guy that I left off my list.
That's insane. That's actually absurd. That's nuts.
I left Kyrie Irving.
I left Kyrie off only because I had him as a 2-guard.
Okay.
Which I probably should have seen that coming. But
yeah.
I left Kyrie off my list only because of the fact that once he got to Dallas, they were not successful. And I know I'm not blaming that solely on Kyrie, and I know damn well he's going to make that look foolish, and he'll be a top 10 point guard, arguably even top 5. He could step into that category, for sure. But I left him off simply because of the situation that happened last year. He didn't play in the playoffs, and that mattered to me. So that's how I felt on that. Is he more talented than 7 through 10? Absolutely, no question.
Yeah, he's a guy for me who just, the resume, you can't keep him off a top 10 list. Even, Jamal Murray, if you look at, recently, obviously this past year, Jamal Murray did the thing and won the championship, but we've seen Kyrie do that.
Kyrie went head-to-head with prime Steph.
We've seen Kyrie do exactly what Jamal Murray did.
Yeah.
Plus, Kyrie's overall regular season resume is way greater than Jamal Murray's.
But I wasn't ranking them based off of what I've seen in the far past from them. I'm looking at last season, and I'm looking at
just the far past. I think your whole resume matters.
No, for sure.
Same thing with Dame. Like in Kyrie this past year, it's not like he was bad. He was a 27 point per game guy on 38% from 3. And the numbers didn't take any type of drop. He dropped by 0.1 points when he got to Dallas compared to Brooklyn. But, he was an all-star last year. It's not like Kyrie was bad last year. I just think we've seen Kyrie do what Jamal Murray did last year. Obviously, it was a while back, but we've seen it, and we know Kyrie's capable of doing so. And 100%. Kyrie's regular season resume just isn't even comparable to Jamal Murray's. They're not even in the same stratosphere. Even last year, Last year in the regular season, it wasn't close.
For
Kyrie
sure.
Irving was
But Kyrie didn't play in the playoffs,
didn't.
and that made a difference for me. And I pretty much, I'll tell you right now, Chris, I wiped out the rest of their careers. I didn't rank them based off of like how great they are. I also just ranked them mostly off of what I saw last season and what I expect.
Yeah, that's
season.
what I went to. Yeah.
It's tough though because it's like if you put all right, let's get into it. I was planning my monologue for this because I knew at some point in the episode I would have to go here. So you especially, you wanted us all to give your boy his respect, Nikola Jokic, right? That's all you wanted. You want us to say he was the best player in the world. You want us to say he could do it in the playoffs, all that stuff, right? He got that. He's getting his respect. He won the ring. He should have been the MVP last year.
Agreed.
So, what makes Nikola Jokic so great? It's a rhetorical question. His greatest attribute is his playmaking. So, who's the biggest beneficiary of that? Another rhetorical question. His teammates. Right? You can't play make to yourself.
Right.
You got to play make to your teammates. And we've seen that.
Perfect timing for this.
Right. He took Campazzo, I forget his first name, Campazzo and Will Barton to the playoffs. So obviously if you plug in a player who's significantly better than those guys like Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., you get Aaron Gordon for a full year, KCP for perfect fit, the results are going to be different. You're going to be one of the best teams, if actually the best team in the NBA for the entirety of the season. But I look at Kyrie Irving and I say, you know, if you plug Kyrie Irving into that Jamal Murray role, and I know it's a hypothetical, but Kyrie Irving would do that role better because he's just a better basketball player than Jamal Murray. He's a better creator. He's a better shooter. He's a better finisher. Their defense is both kind of a wash, right? They're both not terrible defenders. They're not bottom of the barrel. I think they could both hold their own.
We've seen Kyrie play good defense, though.
I was about to say, I have seen Kyrie play solid enough defense in the
Even
past.
Jamal Murray, too.
Yeah.
I've seen Jamal Murray.
Jamal played good defense
like
in the
seen
playoffs.
Him, turn it right
when he needed to.
So both of them, I think the defense is just a wash in the conversation. I just think. So we're talking about from an offensive standpoint. I just think, honestly, Kyrie wipes him, and it's really not that close. Kyrie's a better shooter, better finisher, probably a better playmaker, and I get it. Jamal Murray did it last year. Kyrie didn't even make the playoffs last year, so it's easy to go off that. But I think the context matters a little bit in this situation. We wanted to give Jokic all that respect for being so great and such a great playmaker. So then when we're ranking his teammates, the context has to matter there. Not just Jamal Murray, everyone. Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., KCP, all those guys. Wherever you want to rank them, the context of he played with Nikola Jokic has to matter in those conversations.
Right.
Because that's what we wanted, right? We wanted to give Nikola Jokic his respect.
But he can get his respect while also not diminishing what Jamal did in that point. Like, not just saying he's a byproduct of Nikola Jokic, which he likely is. Some of the numbers are likely byproducts of Nikola Jokic, for sure. I don't disagree with that. But he just so happens to be in that perfect situation. And Kyrie isn't, which it sucks. Like, of course, I would love to say if Kyrie was in this situation, he would do better. Likely, yes, but he's not. So I can't base my rankings off of the fact that Kyrie Irving is not in the situation with Nikola Jokic. So I have to look at this, be like, okay, Jamal Murray is doing this in the situation that he's currently in. That's how I'm going to rank
who's a better
him.
basketball player?
I just said skill-wise, he's better than all of those guys. I'm not disagreeing with that.
Right. So then, I don't know. To me, it's just how can I rank Jamal Murray ahead of Kyrie Irving
Can you throw this out for me in there? Thank you, buddy.
when I know he's a better basketball player, and I know that if he was in the same situation, the results would be the same, if not better.
But he's not, so I can't say that.
Plus, we've seen Kyrie in that role, in that situation, arguably be better than Jamal
He's about to be in that situation again with a guy that we want to call a generational playmaker too.
That's fair.
So
we do have to see it.
So I want to see that happen. If I see, as I said, I think Kyrie is one of the most skilled basketball players in the world, no question. He's far more skilled than any of the guys that I just listed 7 through 10. You could say he's more skilled than even John Morant. So, but I'm not just basing this off of skill. So Like, what kind of impact do you make on your team? And it just so happened that Jamal Murray became the second best player on a team that just won a championship in the past season. That's what makes the biggest difference to me. So that's the only reason I argued that.
I don't know though. I get what you're saying, but my point is, we've seen Kyrie do that. What you're saying, we've seen Kyrie do what your reasoning is for ranking Jamal Murray ahead of him. Plus, you even just admitted that Kyrie Irving's just flat out a better basketball player. So there's no reason to rank Jamal Murray.
But just because you're a more skilled basketball player doesn't necessarily mean that you would rank.
Fuck the skill
But
shit.
that's a fact. Like that,
I know, but fuck the word skill. Just take that word out of the equation. Who's a better basketball player? Not who's more skilled. Who's a better basketball player?
I mean, I feel like those are one and the same.
Right. So that's my point. Jamal Murray, yes, he did it this past year, but my point is we've seen Kyrie do exactly that. Plus, overall, Kyrie's just a better basketball player.
I'm not disagreeing, but the last time Kyrie did exactly that was 2016.
Man, it really was a long time ago.
It was 2016. Like, that was the last time Kyrie Irving was a legitimate number 2 on a championship level team. And then the Boston debacle happened. And if we're going to go through the entirety of the resume, absolutely the Boston debacle happened, right? He was supposed to be the best player on a championship level team. He goes out, and now you have the Boston Celtics without him, without Gordon Hayward, taking the Cavs to 7 games. Okay, so we move forward with that. The Brooklyn debacle happens, right? Which we very well could say that they would have won a title had he not got injured and had James Harden not got injured.
The Brooklyn debacle, it's not like...
But I wouldn't even say he was the second best player on that team at the time, because Harden was playing better basketball than him.
It's debatable. Harden barely played.
It's debatable, but yeah.
Harden's numbers that...
No, I agree. Harden was an MVP candidate until he got hurt. I agree with that, but like... The same could be said for... Jamal Murray would have been the third best player on that team. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but he was just the second best player on a championship team this past season, is what I'm saying.
But
I'm not having to look back to
Kyrie
2016.
was great, though.
I'm not saying otherwise.
It was just unfortunate circumstances, everything that happened. You know what I'm saying?
For sure, 100%. As I just said, for sure, no question. But
like, it's not like we watched Kyrie in Brooklyn and said, you know what? Since he's the number 2 on that team, he's not good enough as a number 2 to win a championship. That was never the question.
It was just we could get James Harden, so we're going to get James Harden.
Right.
Yes.
And not even without James Harden last year before he got traded. Like they were the championship favorite before he decided he didn't want to play there anymore.
And then look at what happened. Exactly my point. You're right.
Like, right, but I'm talking about on the court. Like, I can't defend what Kyrie Irving does off the court. I can't. But on the court, like, he's a number 2 option.
For sure. I completely agree.
Like, he's a championship level number 2 option.
Agreed, but I just watched someone do that.
So then what?
Which is why I have him so high.
So the reason Jamal Murray's a better player is because he just did it.
Literally just now did it. So going into the season, I look at it like
on TikTok, they better all fucking be in those comments saying recency bias.
Yeah.
Sure, it's recency bias.
That's literally the definition of recency bias.
But I'm ranking my point guards going into the season when I just watched Jamal Murray go fucking nuts for an entire playoff run. Like, I watched that. So, of course, there's going to be recency bias when I'm ranking a list of point guards going into this coming season. I'm not saying there's no recency bias. There absolutely is. But we're talking about Kyrie Irving being ranked ahead of this guy, which is fine, and I understand that, and I'm not mad at that. But we're talking about him being ranked above this guy when the last time we watched Kyrie Irving be the second option and win a championship was 2016.
I don't know.
That's it.
I know, but like, it's so hard to win a championship. Like, I can't take anything away from Kyrie Irving because he hasn't won a championship in recent memory as a number 2 option. I can't take it away. It's so only one team wins a championship every year. You know, it's not like Kyrie Irving isn't a championship level number 2, and I know Jamal just did it, but like I've been trying to say, like, Kyrie's better at
doing Jamal, and I have 3 more guys.
So what I'll say is, what I want to say is,
on this list.
The thing about Jamal versus Kyrie is Jamal. I think Kyrie can go to more teams and be a number 2 than Jamal Murray can. That's not. I don't think that's a question. How many teams is Jamal a legitimate number 2?
Ooh.
and they're legit
he's
title
just
contenders.
a product of Jokic.
But we don't have to look at that hypothetical. We don't have to.
I like that,
because it just so
Tom. I like
happens
that.
that Jamal
I guess.
Murray is next to
That was
probably the greatest passer we've ever seen in our
No,
lives.
I'm not
Like,
saying
we
that
can
should
even
take
I can
away
even
from
argue
him.
that
I'm
for
not saying
Jokic.
that should take away from him, but like Chris says, context matters. So
Yeah.
if you're gonna look at yeah, I guess.
Right, that's
yeah.
my point. Kyrie Irving is just infinitely the better number 2.
That's just what I'm trying to say,
They're both number 2 options. Neither of them is number 1.
Okay,
right?
but okay, all right,
Kyrie
ready?
Irving is just infinitely the better option.
We want to talk about, but here's my argument, right? We want to talk about how Jamal is the second option to Jokic and just won a title. Can you guys remind me who the fuck was Kyrie Irving's first option when he won a title? Y'all like to call him what?
Blanking
the
on
GOAT?
Right. That's
The
right.
GOAT?
Right, that's the point, though. Right, that I've been saying.
But I don't want people
seen,
diminishing what Jamal's
we've
doing.
Seen
Kyrie's ring was also 3-1 though.
Right, no,
What
I'm not.
does that have to do with anything?
I'm just saying, like,
next to the GOAT.
I'm not diminishing
go ahead, yeah.
Jamal. What I'm saying is, though, exactly, we've seen Kyrie Irving in the same exact scenario, because we want to talk about Jokic having a top 5 peak ever, which is what his last season was.
Okay,
his
but
peak,
are we
right?
gonna say that Jokic's peak is better than LeBron's peak?
No,
of course not.
But there at that time, because that wasn't even LeBron's peak. LeBron's peak was in Miami. So
LeBron's peak
for
is
argument's
his fucking
sake, for
career.
argument's sake.
Obviously, I'm taking LeBron over Jokic. I'm not delusional.
LeBron's
that-
Cleveland run,
but
I'm still
their
taking over Jokic.
production at the times of those championships was, right there. Jokic arguably had one of the best playoff run we've seen in our lifetime last season. Like the production was obviously. I think LeBron's a better player than Jokic. I'm not a Jokic
Right.
guy, but like what they were putting up on the basketball court was right there. So that's why I keep saying we've seen Kyrie in that exact same situation.
Yeah.
We've seen him alongside one of the greatest to ever do it. The same thing with Jamal Murray. We just saw him alongside one of the greatest to ever do it. And that's my whole point, is that Kyrie Irving is just infinitely better at that.
My point in the hypothetical was, like we said, how many guys do we think? Because that's been like the talk of the offseason with Jamal Murray.
How many
is
guys
that
could do what
could
Jamal
do
Murray
what Jamal
just
Murray did? Now,
Yeah.
in 2016, granted, he had LeBron James, not taking away anything. Kyrie was not
many
just as
guys are
important.
doing what
How many
Kyrie did,
guys are
right.
going on that team and doing what Kyrie Irving did?
Dropping
And that was 7 years
41
ago.
Right.
So
Dropping 41 points
right.
in a game 6 when you trying to come back from down 3-1.
playing to the level of LeBron James,
right.
who was
Not
playing.
many
Yeah.
guys are doing that.
But again, that was 7 years ago. So
But
it just speaks to it just speaks to what we've seen Kyrie do,
Right.
and he's not
I don't
that
think
player.
Kyrie
But
Irving's gotten worse as a
No,
basketball
that's what I'm
player. I
saying,
think
yeah.
Kyrie Irving's arguably gotten better as a basketball player since then.
since playing
He
with
just hasn't
LeBron,
been
he's
in the situation to win.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Now, I want to see that.
Oh, we're
Now.
gonna see it.
Okay. And
Oh,
then
we're gonna
at
see
the end of
it.
the season, I'll say, okay, my list was completely wrong,
Yep.
blah, 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 whatever. But until I fucking see that, I'm not changing my stance on Jamal Murray or Kyrie Irving.